I want to talk about one of the three common ways to convert between two different types of measurements. The one I want to look at today is something called unit ratios. So the idea of a unit ratio is I take what I know about two measurements that are equal, and I turn those two equal measurements into a ratio that is a unit. So for example, I know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. That means, there we go. That means that the fraction 1 pound over 16 ounces is really the same thing as the number 1. Okay, this thing equals 1 because 1 pound and 16 ounces are the same thing. So the way that I use these is if I have a measurement and I want to convert it to a different one, I can write a unit ratio and then multiply, and the units should cancel out correctly, assuming I do it right, and I'll get the answer I want. Now notice 1 pound being on top isn't necessary. Instead, we could have written the unit ratio 16 ounces over 1 pound. Because 16 ounces is 1 pound, this also equals 1. So multiplying by either of these doesn't change the value, it's just going to change the label. And if I do it correctly, the labels will work out the way I want them to. So let's do a couple examples. I want to convert 32 ounces to pounds. Okay, so I want to start with 32 ounces. Now, depending on how comfortable you are with fractions and things, you may want to put this over 1 just to keep yourself lined up. Okay, so since I'm working with ounces and pounds, I have two choices. I could either use 1 pound over 32 ounces, or I could use, sorry, not 32, 16. You should write unit fractions that are actually units. Or I could use 16 ounces over 1 pound. Okay, the way that I decide which one I want is I'm going to choose the one where my units are going to cancel out correctly. So if I multiply this by 1 pound divided by 16 ounces, then notice I have an ounces in the numerator of this fraction, I have an ounces in the denominator of this fraction, and so those will cancel out. Okay, my label of ounces will cancel out, and this will be 32 times 1 pound over 1 times 16. 32 times 1 pound is 32 pounds. Divided by 16. 32 divided by 16 is 2. So this is 2 pounds. Now, I can hear through time and through your computer screen that you knew 32 ounces was 2 pounds. You didn't need to do this, or you did the proportion in your head, or you just divided by 16 because you are cool that way. Okay, that's all great. However, this method is really powerful. Okay, using unit fractions is really powerful to get between different units and different rates. So, even though I know you knew 32 ounces was 2 pounds, look at what we did, okay? If you were rolling your eyes the whole time so loud you couldn't hear me talking, go back and watch the example again as if you didn't know what the units were, okay? Let's do another one. Again, if you had a crabby attitude through that last one, set that aside. Okay, let's convert 1.75 pounds to ounces. So I want to start with 1.75 pounds. Again, I'm going to put that over 1, just for my own reference. Now, I've got two choices again. I've got pounds and ounces, so I either have 1 pound over 16 ounces, or I have 16 ounces over 1 pound. Okay, this time I have pounds on top. I'm trying to get to ounces. I want to pick this one because this is the one that will cancel correctly. So I'm going to put 16 ounces over 1 pound. Okay, again, notice I have a pound in the numerator, a pound in the denominator. Those guys will cancel out, and I will be left with 1.75 times 16 ounces over 1 times 1. Okay, I can just ignore that dividing by 1. So I have 1.75 times 16 ounces. And then let's see if I can do math correctly. 1.75 times 16 is 16 plus 3/4 of 16. 3/4 of 16 is 3 times 4, so 12. So 16 plus 12 is 28 ounces. Okay, so 1.75 pounds is 28 ounces. Okay, let's do another one. I want to convert 3.95 miles to feet. So I'm going to start with 3 95/100 miles. Put it over 1. And now this time I need to remember how feet and miles are connected. I happen to remember that 1 mile is 5,000. Whoa, board, easy. 5,280 feet. Okay, so 1 mile is 5,280 feet. However, even though that was hard to write and I finally did it, that's not the one I want, right? And let me show you why quick. If I put 1 mile over 5,280 feet, the units here are going to end up being miles squared per foot. That is not anywhere close to the units I want on my answer. I just want feet on my answer. So instead, I need the unit fraction that is the reciprocal of that one, or upside down version of that one, 5,280 feet over 1 mile. Okay, so times 5,280 feet over 1 mile. Okay, notice I've got miles in the numerator and denominator, so those cancel. The ones aren't really important. So I'm going to take 3.95 times 5,280 feet, and that will give me my answer. I really should have pulled up the calculator or something here. You don't need to watch me do long math or long multiplication. If you want to check back in a minute, I'm sure I'll be done and halfway sure it'll be right. Did I say halfway? Halfway seems like a lot. There's something everybody loves. It's dead air on a video. But talking and doing math at the same time is really hard. 0, 0, 6, 4, 7, 9, 1, 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places. I got 19,746 feet. I see from my cheat sheet that's not right. Wah, wah. Ha, 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 ha. I meant 20,856 feet. Knew I should add a calculator. But regardless, how I get the number is the important part. 20,856 feet. Great. Let's do one more. Let's do one more with smaller numbers so I don't have to work so hard. I want to convert 9 tablespoons to teaspoons. Okay, here, start with 9 tablespoons. And I need to remember how tablespoons and teaspoons are related. So 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. And 3 teaspoons make up 1 tablespoon. Now, if you zoned out, came back, and you're like, oh, I need to change that, I bet it's 3. You're incorrect here. tablespoons are bigger than teaspoons, so I should get more teaspoons per tablespoon. In fact, I want to use this guy on the right and multiply this by 3 teaspoons per 1 tablespoon. Because that's how my units cancel out. I had tablespoons here, I have tablespoons here, those cancel out. I get 9 times 3 teaspoons. 9 times 3 is 27 teaspoons. So the real benefit of writing out your unit fractions with their labels, without the labels, you're not gaining anything. But with the labels is you're making sure that everything's lined up correctly, as long as you've actually written unit fractions that work out. Okay, there is one way you can convert between different units. And like I said, this will help us convert between rates as well.